When looking at the most legendary watches of all time, many are quick to jump to the luxury level of watchmaking. However, that some of the most paramount watches ever created would be overlooked, and perhaps at the top of that list is the Casio G-Shock. And in this video we will look at everything you should know before you look to buy one of these great watches, including some top picks from their catalog that are good choices for certain types of people, and then also why not go for a Casio G-Shock? If you're someone who's asking yourself, okay, I'm a certain type of consumer, I want to buy my first G-Shock, where do I go? Let's go through a few different groups of people and maybe make some recommendations. First, you've got your casual wear, or maybe you're the do-it-yourself dad that's getting plywood. Maybe you're getting your hammer and you just need to do some work around the house and you want something that you can just take with you and not worry about. I'd recommend buying something like the DW9052. So if you're someone who has military or law enforcement as a profession, thank you for your service. If you're one of those people, I'd look at the GG1000 to 185 Mudmaster. These are watches with real credibility in this area, and I think they're great for risk in these types of environments. Shock in your collection. I'd go for the Casio, the analog digital display options for GA210. There are now a lot of different options to choose from here. You also have these steel versions available, so it's really up to you on who you want to go for. But I think these have just really been able to be that middle ground of not being so far towards the G to work shock lovers, but of course still appealing to those people, but also watch lovers who are maybe a little more snobby at times, which I don't think is good. But if you're one of those people who just wants something that really offers the best of both worlds and what G-Shock has to offer, then you should go for one of these. If you're one of those hardcore G-Shock enthusiasts who already knows all of these things, then you should look at something that's a little fancier, and you want something that you can work towards in this collection. I'm going to opt for the MRGB 5000D1. Aquatic side of things, you want something that will handle a lot of different conditions. Maybe even go for the Frogman GWF1001. This will give you a lot of those extra features when it comes to diving as well as in an underwater environment. Also good visibility on this, and also as rugged as pretty much any watch you're going to get from the brand. This would be the one I'd go for this circumstance, but I'd have this closed. We'll look at why or why not. I think G-Shocks in general may have some polarizing design formats, especially when you get into the higher price ranges. The digital quartz is a problem for some people. I'm not one of those people, but I know the people out there who may have issues with these watches, just because I think that's more of a snob mentality. But it's something that should be addressed. It's not going to be for everyone. Shocks in general is someone who has a smaller wrist, and a lot of them are obviously not for everyone. G-Shock offers a lot of watches that look great on a smaller wrist, but there are a lot that just don't. And the last point I want to make about the negative side is that it's just overwhelming, as you're seeing right now. With all the different collections and all the different models, it's hard to really know where to start. And even for myself, it's hard to unpack and know all the different references and models. They just keep bringing out something new. But now on the other hand, why would you go for G-Shock? Personally think that almost everybody should own a G-Shock if you can overlook the looks, even if they're not really for you. They don't cost a lot of money, so I think they're just worth it. They're one of the watches that, from a longevity standpoint, are the fixture in the watchmaking world. I mean, you can throw these things out of a freaking helicopter. If you want a G-Shock, you can probably find something that appeals to you. These are some of the most ubiquitous watches of all time. The history is cool too, but the technology behind it's really cool too. I love the fact that I've heard the story about Ebb and how he was able to come up with this concept, the many trials and errors to bring this watch to life, and why there was a genesis to pursuing this idea from Evie when he was designing these watches. But the final point of why I think G-Shock is great, and why probably everyone should own at least one, or at least try to, is the fact that I think everyone in the watch community and everyone who has a general interest in watches can come together and say that these watches are pretty cool. Whether you have a Patek Philippe in your collection and their perpetual calendars and all that, or whether you're someone who doesn't have any money to spare but just wants a nice watch, I think everyone can come together and say this is a great watch. G-Shocks are snob-proof in a way. They're just this collective understanding of everybody that knows G-Shock and says, yeah, they make a great watch, they have their own lane, nothing can hold a candle to them. And that's so unique when you look at different market segments. What makes a product amazing is when it's able to have no real competitor, and for the G-Shock has been doing it for 40 years and will continue to do it. So there's really no alternative to the G-Shock if you want one. And honestly, I think you should have one because they're badass. But well folks, this is my video that takes a look at the Casio G-Shock, a little bit of its history, also some of the collections as you might want to look to buy. I know how overwhelming it's. Even for myself, I still sometimes get very confused with some of the different models. It's a lot to download and understand. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon as well. Guys, thanks again so much for watching. Stay healthy, and until next time, keep ticking.